Hi everyone, my name is Alina and welcome to the PNT podcast. I have with me Olivia.
Hi.
And Ivana.
Thanks, Alina.
It is my absolute pleasure to introduce to you one of our favourite BTN presenters. Please welcome Wren Gillett.
Thank you guys, lovely to be here.
Let's take it back to the beginning. Where did you grow up and what was it like?
What a good question. Well, yeah, obviously I'm in Adelaide now, but that wasn't always the case. I was actually born in Sydney, and then when I was 9, I moved to Melbourne. So I finished primary school in Melbourne, I went to high school in Melbourne, and then I went to university in Melbourne. I did a Bachelor of Arts, majoring in journalism, minoring in philosophy, studied politics and international studies, and then I got a call, and now I'm here in Adelaide working for BTN.
What schools did you go to and were there any subjects you loved or found really challenging?
So I went to primary school when I was in Sydney. I went to Blakehurst Primary School, and then when I went to Melbourne, I went to Tacoma Primary School. Then I went to Upwey High School, then I went to Monash University. But yes, all public schools. Yeah.
Everyone's first job is always interesting. What was yours, and do you have any funny or memorable stories from it?
Great question, because everyone has very different first jobs, hey. My first job, so I used to be in high school, I used to be a student voice advocate. So it's a bit complicated, but I used to be on like this board of students in Victoria that would go and consult with like education stakeholders. So like basically big leaders in education to talk about the stuff that students cared about. And I went to a conference at the end of year 12, and I met someone there who had this organisation called Pivot Professional Learning, which was all about, I guess using students' feedback to make the classroom better. So like asking students, what do you like in the classroom and what you don't like, and sort of trying to make the classroom better.
So it was like student agency in a way?
Student agency, exactly, spot on. And so they asked me to join their organisation and sort of be the youth representative. And so, I would go to schools and talk about, giving feedback and why it's important for students like you guys to, have a voice in the classroom so that education can be better. I worked, it's a bit of a strange job, but yes, I was a student voice advocate for Pivot Professional Learning. Yeah.
That's really great. Is there any funny memories or something memorable that you got from there?
Yeah, well, I mean, because I finished high school and then straight after that it was COVID. So I guess the first 2 years of that job, I was in my own bedroom. And so I guess I started a podcast like what you guys are doing. And I was speaking to students about, what it was like learning from home and what it was like basically, because in Melbourne I didn't really leave my house for 2 whole years, which was, bonkers. Talking to students about what that was like and trying to, make education better during those 2 years. So I guess that was pretty fun, getting to start my own podcast.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Was there a specific person or moment that inspired you to pursue journalism and broadcasting?
Well, journalism is something that I've actually wanted to do since, forever. I can't actually remember a time before I wanted to be a journalist. I think I always grew up watching the news, and I always loved public speaking, and I always loved writing, and I knew that I wanted a job that would make the world a better place. I was kind of interested in politics for a while, but then I was like, you know what, journalism, because you can kind of combine all of those interests and also have a bit of fun too. I don't know whether there was necessarily like a particular moment, but I think as soon as I learnt that, I can do the thing that I'm seeing on TV, and it's making the world a better place and people are learning about the world that we exist as part of, like, I want to do that. So, that's kind of, how I got here.
What's your official job title at BTN? And can you walk us through what your role involves?
Yeah. So basically at BTN, I'm both a reporter and presenter. So sometimes on Newsbreak, which is our daily show, I'll present that. I'm a reporter. So it changes because we have 3 different shows, and for each of those shows, the roles are a little bit different. But I guess at the moment, I'm on Classroom a lot, which is the show that you guys watch. And that involves, I can walk you through a week in the life maybe. Yeah. So the week, weirdly enough, starts on a Tuesday, so today. So, you arrive at work and you go through sort of what what news is happening, what's going on in the world, and then you put together, you know how you watch the 5 stories in an episode, we sort of pitch what those 5 topics should be. So we bring that to a meeting and we all pitch our ideas, and then the rundown is selected, and then we get our stories, and then on Tuesday you basically research and write. On Wednesday you work with the producer and you finalise your script. Then on Thursday you get to film all the fun bits. So, you know, when we're doing like funny role plays, or, you know, when I came and filmed with you guys, that was on a Thursday. So all the filming happens on a Thursday. And then on a Friday, stories get edited, and same on Monday. On Monday, the whole show gets put together. And then on Monday nights, we watch the show together and check that there's no errors, and then it goes off, and then on Tuesday it airs. And then we start it all over again. So yeah, my job involves researching, writing, and presenting.
Yeah, you basically just answered this question. What does a typical day look like for you? Do you have any behind-the-scene moments that you can share with us?
Well, I mean, even just the other day, so Tatenda's joined us this year, and we were filming her story. She did one on fatbergs the other day, and to do that, we basically went into sort of like this old abandoned building in the ABC, it's very cool that we have these spaces, because there's lots of parts of the ABC that aren't necessarily used, and so we'll go into them and film, and our set producer Soph will make sets. And the other day we went into this sort of like abandoned part, and we went into the toilets, and it was just hilarious. We were running around this building, and for the story we had to scream a lot, so we were doing that, and it was just really funny. But I mean, there are lots of days where you'll just be asked by another reporter to come in and film with them, and it's just a lot of fun really every day.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Out of all the people you've interviewed, who has been the most fascinating or surprising?
I'm going to say, I think interviewing you guys about your languages, I loved that. So that was the first story that I've done where, you know, I've just let you guys take it away. You know, I wasn't a part of that story at all, and I loved putting that one together because you were just so wonderful, you know, to interview. And I loved the whole experience of chatting to you. You had such beautiful things to say, and putting that all together, it felt wonderful. So I'll say you guys.
What's something you love about your job that people might not expect?
I guess one of the parts of this job that I didn't even realise, because I actually didn't grow up watching BTN, which is, a lot of people are surprised when I say that. But I didn't watch it. I didn't know it was a show. And so when I got the call to come and move to Adelaide for a show called BTN, I was like, what is BTN? And I searched it up. And anyway, I didn't realise that a lot of the job is actually acting and performing. You know how we do those role plays? Yeah. I didn't realise that was a part of the job. And so, I guess I always knew I wanted to be a reporter, like writing and presenting. But this job, you get to act and have a lot of fun doing, cool little role plays and things like that. So, I guess that's a part of the job that I didn't expect, and I love acting. I've always loved acting and performing. I did a lot of that growing up. So, it's cool that I get to do that for my job.
What's the best advice you've ever received, and how has it shaped your career and life?
Well, I always grew up in a family where, you know, life and the job that you choose, my parents always said, you know, make sure that it's something that you love, you know. Don't go for money, go for passion, and then everything else will kind of fall around it. Because, once you leave school, a massive part of your life is the job that you choose to do. And so I guess having passion drive my career choices was amazing, because I sort of was able to focus on what do I love doing, hone in on that, get really good at those skills, and then, it kind of led me to then, I guess, sort of tunnel vision my way into a career like this and be able to get there really quickly. And now I'm in a job where I basically get to do everything that I've ever loved doing, which is acting, writing, and journalism, you know? So, I guess it sounds very cliche, but follow something that you love doing, and then everything else will fall around it.
Yeah, that's great advice,
If you weren't a reporter, what do you think you'd be doing instead?
I think potentially in another world, maybe politics. I might be a politician because, making the world a better place is very important to me, and I want to do a job that feels really meaningful. And so, I guess if not a journalist, maybe a politician.
Are you into sports? If so, do you have a favourite sport to watch or play?
Well, I love dancing. Do you guys count that as a sport?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Well, then, yeah, dancing's probably my favourite sport. And, yeah, I especially love, it was really cool when breakdancing came to the Olympics. I was like, oh, that's awesome. But I also love watching gymnastics. That's my favourite thing to watch at the Olympics.
What has been one of your most embarrassing moments in your life, Wren?
Okay, you know how when you're asked to introduce yourself, and one of the questions that you sometimes get asked to accompany that is, tell us something interesting about yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you feel like that happens all the time, right? Well, one time I went to, I loved debating, and so I went on this excursion. There was like heaps of us. Anyway, this is irrelevant detail. These are irrelevant details. But anyway, a group of us from around Australia, we were all here, and so it felt like the pressure was on. And yeah, this UN Youth Conference, and they asked us to say something interesting about ourselves. And I've always been told that at the back of my hair there's like a little golden streak. And so I was just like, so my name is Wren Gillett, and I have a golden streak at the back of my hair. And then, they were like, oh, can we see it? And so then it's at the back of my head, so I've actually never seen it. And then I showed my hair, and they were like, I don't see anything. And then I was like, yeah, cool. And so anyway, I just felt so embarrassed. I was like, oh, yeah, well, anyway, I'm obviously not very interesting, but anyway. So now whenever I get asked that question, I tell that story as my interesting fact because I think it's just a bit silly. But yeah, anyway, that one.
I'm so sorry, I pronounced your last name wrong.
Oh my gosh, don't worry. No.
Who's your favourite musician, artist or band right now?
Do you guys know Still Woozy?
No.
No. Still Woozy, they just came to Adelaide. They kind of do slightly like indie stuff. Yes, you probably haven't heard of them. But yeah, they are my favourite artist, and they've been my top number one on Spotify for ages. So yes, if you want to have a listen, you can.
Cut down, oh no, would I want to?
And are you a Swiftie?
You know what? I love Taylor Swift, but I have not grown up with Taylor Swift because, I don't know, we didn't really listen to the radio a whole lot growing up. And I feel like Taylor Swift was very, I don't know, I just haven't listened to a whole lot of Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
But I will say I love her and I think she's awesome. But yeah, I don't know all of her songs. I feel bad. Are you a Swiftie?
Like you, not fully grown up with her. Like the first time I heard a Taylor Swift song was one of my friends. She was trying to teach it to me, and it was at the school. But I definitely have more different music tastes, like sort of like SZA and that sort of.
Yeah. Are you a Swiftie?
No.
Are you a Swiftie?
No.
Look at this.
Do you have any pets? If so, tell us a bit about them.
I don't know how to say this because one of my cats just died actually.
Oh, no.
That's okay. It's just, it happens. But okay, I want to figure out how I want to frame this. Well, growing up, when I was in primary school, I had two fish. One was called Speedy, one was called Muddy. Very creative names. One was fast and one looked brown, so thus their names. And then when we got to high school, I was given 2 cats for my birthday. But it's funny because when you get given pets for your birthday, they're like a gift for you, but really they're the family's gift. Because my sister had one as well, so it was like we both had a cat. One was called Archie and the other was Pip. And yeah, Pip recently passed away, which is devastating because I'm here in Adelaide, so I couldn't say goodbye because, he's in Melbourne. But Archie's still alive, and funnily enough, it seems like Archie's actually a lot happier now that he's the only cat because he gets all the attention, which I thought is a bit funny. But anyway, that's what I've been told, and I'm like, odd. But anyway, I love Pip with my whole heart, and yes, this podcast can be dedicated to Pippi.
When you were younger, what was one of your biggest fears?
I'll say that my whole life I've been really sort of scared of swimming and not knowing what's underneath me, like really, really.
Yeah.
It's because so much of the world is ocean and we haven't explored it. And I don't know, when you're swimming and you're just like, I don't know what's beneath me. Like in the pools, I would always just think there's a shark underneath me. Yep, there's a shark, even though it's like there's no logical way for there to be a shark underneath me. But I convinced myself time and time again. And I'd still say that like when I'm swimming in the ocean and I don't know and it's quite deep, I do get a bit scared.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to young people like us who are interested in journalism and storytelling?
First of all, I'd say that that's awesome and that you should keep going because it's the best career in the world for many reasons. One of them being that you get to learn something new every day, and it's so cool. Like in this job, I'm constantly learning, constantly, making my brain get bigger because I'm, getting to talk to so many interesting people and learn about so many interesting things in the world that we exist as part of, So, yeah, number one, keep going because it's awesome. And two, just follow your heart. There are a lot of people that don't have voices. And so I think if you guys feel confident enough to use your voice and you like sharing stories, then, if you can use that to help give other people a voice or help amplify their voices, because the reality is everyone has a voice, but some are just louder than others. And so if you guys are, using your voice and making your voice loud, then it's such a privilege to be able to, use that voice and help other people out. Because journalism is a vehicle for change, and you can do so much as a journalist to make the world a beautiful place if you talk to the right people and share the right stories. So yeah, just remember how important journalism is, and just again keep going. It's an awesome career.
What are your thoughts on PNTV and our media room? Do you think this is something you would have been interested in when you were our age?
That is such a good question, and 100 bajillion%. Like, this is so cool. When I came in to speak to you guys, I was like, the fact that you guys have your own podcasting studio, I would have actually died. It is awesome. Yeah. So, yes, long answer to that question, yes.
Finally, we have a segment called Give Us Context. We have Googled your name, selected some images, and now we want you to add context to them. Are you ready, Wren?
I'm ready for anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go.
What about this one?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. So you know how I mentioned Vic SRC before, or that group of students that I was a part of in high school? Well, I helped basically in Victoria. You know how every school has school councils?
Yeah.
And lots of parents and teachers will talk on those school councils to make decisions for the school. Well, me and a group of students in Victoria spoke to the Minister for Education, and we managed to get students on those school councils. So now in Victoria, it's actually mandatory for every public school to have a student on that board to be able to sort of say, what students think about the stuff that's happening. So yes, I was in the newspaper and I got my photo taken, and that is this very staged photo of me there, which is so funny. There's that one. Do you want to present the next one to me? So this is Rove McManus, who is basically like an Aussie TV legend. He's done so many shows over the years. And I was invited to Channel 31, which is basically like a community TV station. They had their 30th anniversary, and I was invited to do a speech at that night because I used to do a show when I was in university for them. I used to host a show. And since then, since I finished university and hosting that show, I now work at BTN, so they wanted me to talk about that. I did a speech that night, and I got to meet the Aussie legend himself, and I was very happy, as you can tell by my smile.
This one?
Oh,
I think there's a couple more actually.
this is so cool. You guys have actually done proper journalism. You've done some investigative reporting here, and you found my car, which is so cool. Yeah, so this is my car, and that's actually Archie. That's my cat. And this was the day that I left Melbourne to move to Adelaide. So that's some of my furniture in my car. This is my little yellow Fiat 500, which I still have. I actually drove it here to the podcast. So yeah, that's my beautiful car and the day I left Melbourne. So yes, sentimental day.
And finally, this one.
So this is actually a photo of Dolly Everett, who, when she was in school, faced a lot of bullying, and it led her to take her own life. And so her family created an organisation called Dolly's Dream. And every year there's a day called Do It for Dolly Day. And so one year I was asked to be an ambassador. And so I decided to spread the anti-bullying message at my school by, you know how you get those like loud announcements over the speakers?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wrote this speech that went for a minute and just sort of asked people to reflect on whether they are a kind person, because I think in life if you can be a kind person and spread kindness, then the world is a better place. And I don't know. I thought it's a time to reflect on whether you consider yourself a kind person, whether other people might as well. And then we had a minute of silence after that in the name of Dolly Everett. It's a sad but important story. And it sucks that things like this have to happen for, change to happen and for people to do something. But it's important that we talk about it. So thank you for picking out that photo.
Thank you so much, Wren, for taking the time to chat with us today. We've loved hearing your stories and insights.
Oh, I loved speaking with you guys. It's so fun to get to do stuff like this. Yeah. And what a wonderful thing that you have, a podcast at your school. Big fan. Big fan.
That's it for this episode of the PNC Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. PNC Podcast out.
Out.
Woo! That was so good.